Okay, so we've covered the indicators. Now what we'll be doing is looking at the strategies that make up the DTB system. So we're going to start on the Advanced Retracement strategy. And if you remember from the indicators video that we watched, the Advanced Retracement indicator is the one that this strategy uses. So the one where you put your retracement value in and basically it's basically that indicator that works as part of this strategy. So I've gone and applied some chart settings over here, and what I've also done is I'm working with a very specific amount of data. So I'm just going to go from basically the 16th, because today is the 25th, so I'm just running from the 16th up until today. And what I'll do is I will use the same data on all the strategies, just so that it's uniform in that regard, so that the strategies can be compared using the exact same data period. So I'll be doing that with the following strategies too. So it's basically the last 10 days starting from the 16th. So let's have a look at this strategy. So strategy performance. Actually, before we look at the actual performance of the strategies, let's have a look at the settings for the strategy. So I'll just go and deactivate this, and we'll look at it from the top. So when you add the strategy to the chart, you've got the field there to choose how much retracement value you want to select. You also have a choice whether you want to trade trend or reverse. So trend is basically when the bars are green, it's going to buy, and when the bars are red, it's going to sell. Reverse is the opposite of that. So it's basically taking a sell order when there's a buy signal and a buy order when there's a sell signal, if you've got it on reverse. Okay, and the add trend retracement indicator to chart, so that's just making a visual representation of the indicator on the chart, which is good to have. I put this as an option in the settings for the strategy because when you're running the strategy analyzer, sometimes if you uncheck this box on the strategy analyzer, it actually makes the strategy run a bit faster. So all that this does is it takes out the indicator from the strategy analyzer. That doesn't have to load all that data from that indicator. Even though it is using that indicator to calculate, it's not adding all the additional data of that indicator. And we've got, same with the indicators, we've got a folder, a specific folder where all the training documentation is for the strategies. Although this video will be on the website and on the YouTube channel, I may even just put links to it in the folder. So it says review folder called DTB Advanced Retracement Strategy. So that is in this folder on Google Drive, is going to be all the training. And actually in this folder too, I've also included the templates for all the strategies that we are going to be working with. So if you want to load the exact same templates as I've created on these videos, they are going to be in this folder also. It's just got a date over there. Now you've got a position location, so you can choose the position of the buttons of the strategy. So top, middle or bottom. So if you're running multiple strategies on one chart, you can have just basically on different positioning of those buttons. And the indicator, it's only got the one option there. So I just click on this down arrow to get rid of the version. We don't need to see that. You've got the option when you're running your strategies to select a daily profit target and a daily stop loss. So these values are respected when the strategy is trading live. So whatever value you put in there, it will actually stop trading when those values are hit. You've also got the option to add stop ticks and target ticks for each individual trade you take. So you've got your daily target and your daily stop, and you've also got your individual trades, target and stop ticks. Just remember to use these buttons if you are going to use your stop and your target. So sometimes you might only want to use your stop tick, so you'll uncheck your target and then put your stop ticks value in there of whatever value and then go from there. We're just going to leave this at 1 for now. So for this video, I'm not going to be using the stop ticks and the target ticks. We'll use that on another video that I'm going to record, like a live session that we will do for the analytical strategy. So I'm just going to reduce that for now. Trade size, that is just the amount of contracts that the strategy will enter on every single signal. Auto start is just activating the strategy immediately. You've also got the option to use time slots in the strategy. So if you want to trade between certain hours of the day, you can select those time slots in there. Now just an issue with the time slots, and it's a NinjaTrader issue, it's not a DTB System, DTB Traders issue, but you are not able to trade from 6 p.m. You're not able to trade from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. as an example. NinjaTrader does not allow that to happen. You can't trade from p.m. to a.m. You can only trade from an a.m. to a p.m. So just keep that in mind. So we're not going to use the time slot in these examples either, but they are definitely you're definitely able to use those time slots to choose your specific trading hours. So I'm going to reduce that also. I've got the 1010 data series loaded on the chart, so that's what's coming up in the indicator. We're going to use the Sim 101 account. It's always calculate on bar close when you're using the advanced retracement strategy. And we have a wait until flat synchronize account as the setting, and I always add slippage into the calculations. So slippage and commission are always calculated into the results of the strategy, even when you load them on the chart, because you want to try and get as close as possible a representation of what the results are for historical trades. So once that's been done, I can go and enable that. Okay, so because I never had the auto start activated, the button is gray. So if I want to actually let the strategy run, I can actually just press the green button and that will start the strategy. If I want to close any open positions of the strategy, I don't go and use the chart trader. You don't use the chart trader to close the positions. You basically just use the buttons on the strategy itself, because if you go and click the close button, it's going to deactivate the strategy, but it's still going to keep the position open. It's just weird how that happens, but that is how that happens. Now it's going to tell you obviously the button, the coloring, if it's on or not. You've also got the option to choose long only, short only, or both. So if you only want the strategy to take long positions, you click the long button. If you only want the strategy to take short positions, short button. And if you're happy for the strategy to take both directions, you take both. So if we go to the strategy performance of this, or not yet, don't stop jumping the gun, Jason. Okay, let's have a look at the stop ticks and target ticks. So if you've got a stop ticks and target ticks values in your strategy settings, if you've actually put values in there and you have selected the tick boxes, then it will show those values in there. If you've put the values in there but you haven't selected the tick boxes, it will still say stop ticks off. So I've put that as a little bit of an extra thing in there, just so that people think they've put stop ticks in but they haven't checked the boxes. It has to be checked, those boxes, and the values must be put in. So once those values are put in, they're going to reflect over there. If there's no values, it'll just say off. And then you're going to see which account the strategy has been activated on, or which one it's loaded on. So that is how that works. So those are the buttons. Now let's have a look at the strategy performance of this specific one. So we'll look at the analysis. So from the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24, those were basically, had these settings been activated, this would have been the result of the strategy over the week, last week up until now. So summary. So those are the different values. There would have been 11 positions, 63% profitable, and 7 winning and 4 losing positions. So before I go into all the other results, I'll flick between the charts. So like this specific strategy has got a 390 retracement on trend. So that's the setting on that, and it's a 10-10 chart. The next chart I've got is a 132 analytical 48. So it's basically a flat baseline chart, a wide flat baseline chart with a 132 tick and a 48 tick baseline chart. So that's the basic, the settings for this specific chart size. And the strategy that I put on here was a 290 trend. So if we go to the strategy, you'll see retracement 290 and trend. And this strategy generated 13,000 with a drawdown of 3.7 for the same period. So all the strategies are basically, all these charts are calculated on the same amount of days. So that's that chart, and the next chart is a 3422. This one is a 370 retracement on trend as well. Next chart is a 31-minute chart. So you can apply the strategy on obviously the analytical bars that we've selected, but also minute charts. So here I have a 31-minute with a 210 retracement on trend, and for the same period from the 16th of May, it's basically entered those positions. If I look at the quick performance of this one, it's only 9 positions that were entered with a 77% profitability. And those were the specific trades that would have been entered had those settings been activated. So a 210 retracement using trend. So that's the minute chart. So the next one we can look at is tick. So I've added a tick chart, and I've put on a 390 tick with a 50 retracement, and that is the value of the trades that would have entered over that period. So same thing over there. Next chart is a volume chart. So this is a 4,640 volume chart with a 70 retracement on trend. And those are the historic results using those specific settings on that chart. The next chart is a range chart. So this is a 225 range chart. I've got a 50 retracement on here on reverse. So this is the only one I've got on this list that's actually reverse. So you may be asking, how did I just come up with these numbers? Did I thumb suck these numbers, or did I just guess them to bring these up? Well, this is where we use the strategy analyzer. So the strategy analyzer is a great tool for NinjaTrader, and what this does is you're able to analyze specific sections of data. So for those who have worked with this before, you'll be quite familiar with what the analyzer does. But what it does is for those that are not familiar, is you can optimize, you can run analysis on specific sections of data, and you can even optimize the size of the time factor or the bars. So you can optimize the size of the wicks, the baselines for the analytical bars. You can optimize all these different values. I wouldn't optimize Heikin-Ashi because it's not a good bar to do optimization on. But all the ones that we just covered in our in the first few minutes, those are the type of charts that you can optimize. So again, these templates are in that folder. So all these templates that we're going to be using on these videos are actually going to be stored in that folder that you'll have access to, which is in this link over here. So the DTB product training link is going to contain the templates for the strategies and for the optimizer, the strategy analyzer that we are using here. Okay, so the first one I ran the optimization for was the 1010. So I ran the optimization, I put in values for retracement, a certain range. So I put between 10 and 500 with increments of 10. I have optimized both the reverse and the trend. I have left out the daily profits. You can't even optimize daily profits and loss, unfortunately, with the strategy analyzer. It just doesn't work. This is where you can go and optimize your stop ticks and your target ticks if you were using them. And obviously with this example I didn't use the stop ticks, so I'm just going to minimize that. I've also just kept the trade size at 1. I'm not using the time slots, so I didn't select those. I've got the instrument in there. I've got the bar size that we're working with, which was the 1010 on the first chart. So you notice it was a 1010 on top there. And I've chosen the specific dates. So I chose from the 16th of May up until today's date. So I always select ahead. So the benefit of selecting ahead, so if you select the end of the week ahead or the day after today, so today is the 25th in the US, so if you select the 26th, it's going to optimize the data up until current price. So wherever price is right at this moment, it's going to optimize up until that very bar that price is on. So that's why if you're going to run your optimization, optimize it until the day after, the next day basically. So I'm just doing it up until the 29th. And in this example, or in this video, I haven't included specific trading hours. So you can also go and choose very specific trading hours that you want to set up as your trading hours template. Now for the Asian Open, you really have to go and put the specific hours in there. You got to go put 6:15 p.m. for Monday Open, and for Sunday Open, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday Open. Because if you just put 6:15 p.m. for Thursday, it's going to bring up Wednesday's data. So that's just the only thing with the Asian Open. But with the rest of the Opens, like I've got here, the London Open, I've got 3. I always miss out the first 15 minutes too. But I've just got these different time slots or these different trading hours templates that I've selected or I've created. And whatever trading hours you specifically want to use, if you want to use specific trading hours, you can also use them. Or you can go and use your trading hours time slot in your strategy. Okay, so that is that. I just want to check something here. Yes, if you can use your specific time slot too, if you want to analyze specific hours of the day. Just remember that you cannot go from PM to AM. So that's why a trading hours template is a better idea if you want to trade continuously from the PM hours to the AM hours. And I've got break at end of day, which is good for this strategy. You can also try it without break at end of day. I'm including commission because I want to be able to see the commission of the positions that are entered. and I'm also including slippage. So the normal slippage is 2 for the NQ. It's now fluctuating between 2 and 4, so just put that in there. I'm keeping 20 results, and I'm always optimizing on max net profit. There are a few other options that you can work with if you are familiar with this tool. I'm just finding that the max net profit setup is the simplest and easiest to work with, because that's going to give you the results. So if I run this optimization right now, it's only going to be going through 100 iterations. So you'll find that you'll be able to run these optimizations with this strategy extremely quick. So there we go. So it's giving me the latest results of the strategy. So 390, which is exactly what I got on my chart. And if I go to the chart tab, it's going to give me the matching chart to what the strategy activated has. Now these bars are only not green because the strategy is not enabled, so that they won't be green until this is enabled. So that is basically how I came up with the value of 390. So if you look at the top, if you look at the chart, it's going to highlight or put the values in brackets that are the settings that the chart is giving the best results on. So if you're looking at a 390 retracement on trend and on the 10-10 bar for those dates, and it's including commission. So you can basically go and you can look at this information. If you just hover your mouse over the parameters, it's going to tell you the retracement, the trading type, and whether you're using stop ticks and target ticks and the rest. So obviously there it's going to give you your summary of all the positions, how many trades were entered historically on with those specific settings. You can go and look at your analysis of what would have happened. So if you were running the optimization on these strategies and you were running them on the 21st as an example, you would have seen the results for the previous days, and then you can go and apply those results for the next 3 days ahead and be able to get some really good trades on the board, if you're lucky enough to have that trend continuing. So that is something to look at. We've got this optimization for the 10-10. Okay, so that's the 10-10, and I'm going to look at the next one now. So we'll just put this back on summary. The next chart that we optimized was the 132.48. So if I go to that chart quickly, we'll look at that one. 132.48. So that is basically the settings that that I selected from this list. So when you run the optimization, it's going to give you a list of all the settings, and you can go and sift through these settings and see which one is most favorable to give you results. So I'll just click on the top one. So the top one is showing higher results, but it's also showing a higher drawdown. So if you now go and click on the analysis tab, it's going to show you the history of those settings. So you can go and cycle through the different settings like this, and you can match. Now these are going to be similar because they've got a similar retracement value, but you can basically go and cycle through the settings. So that was 132 with a 290. So some of these are going to be the same because the retracement values on a larger bar, they're not going to differ too much because they work on bar close. So you'll see that those are all the similar. Here is 132 with a 250 retracement. So as you filter through the list, you're going to see different values of these settings, and the one that we chose was the 132. So if we go back to the 132.48 with the 290, so again, you can hover your mouse over the settings. So it's telling me I must use 132 bar. So if you look to the right, it's going to say analytical bars, DTB analytical bars, which is what I selected. It's putting 132 in brackets, so that is the first setting. And I've got my baseline width in ticks as 48. So that's the bar we're loading. So analytical bars 132.48. So exactly what the settings are saying there. It's telling us that a 290 on trend is the best setting. And that's how we basically got the setting for this chart. So again, a good thing to do is to, if you're applying a setting like this to your chart, click on the chart tab and make sure that the results that it is showing on the chart are matching the results showing on the on your trading chart. So that the results on the strategy analyzer must match the results that are showing on your trading chart. So let's see if we can just line this up a little bit and make it a bit more visible to do that. So it helps if you're having multiple screens, which I do have, but to show this I just have to do it on one screen. So you basically want to make sure that your bars and your trades are matching what the analyzer is telling you. So if you expand your time scale and the bars are all wide and thick like that, just click the Alt button, so the ALT button on your keyboard, hold that in and press the up arrow, and that's going to just going to make the bars a better size to work with. And then you can actually go and confirm that the entries are the same. So a fast way to confirm them is clicking on this crosshair button, clicking on global on your trading chart, and then doing the same thing on the strategy analyzer, clicking on the crosshair, clicking on global. And what that does is it's going to match up your analyzer with the top chart, and you can go and look at those very specific trades. So if you scroll back on your analyzer, it's going to show you those trades, so you can make sure that they are actually matching your analyzer. Because sometimes NinjaTrader will have corrupted data, or it will have missing data, and your optimizer will give you results that will not match your chart. So a very good thing to do before you apply the settings from the analyzer is to always make sure that your chart is matching the analyzer, so that there's no corruptive data that could be hindering the actual results. So that is a good thing to do for that. I'm going to just move this away again, increase this. Okay, so that was that setting. Now I'll flick to the next tab. The next tab was the 34.22, which gave the best results. I did a similar thing, so I just changed the bar sizes slightly on the baseline width in ticks. I changed that slightly to get different results. So on the last chart, I went from a 48 to a 344 with a 48 baseline width. And on this chart, I selected from a 22 and a 22 up to 344. So I just modified these values of the baseline width in ticks and the starting value of the analytical bars, just to try a few different combinations out. So that's what you can do too. You can try a few different combinations and see which one is giving the best results. Now, unfortunately, NinjaTrader does not allow us to optimize the baseline width in ticks. So that is not something that we're able to do. It's only going to allow us to optimize the top value. So I think NinjaTrader's thinking on that is they think people are only going to be optimizing one value, which is the top value, which is minute. So if you're optimizing data series on on minutes, there's only one value. So when you click on optimize data series, it's only giving you that one value to optimize, but with the analytical bars, because there's two values, it's still only allowing you to optimize the one value. So that's a bit of a shame, which just means that you have to run a few more optimizations with different baseline width in ticks if you're using the analytical bars. Okay, so next one we're going to look at quickly is the minute. So I've gone and optimized between 1 and 60 minutes. I've also used the same retracement values between 10 and 500 with a 10 increment level. So I'm optimizing or analyzing that range of retracement, and I'm optimizing trend and reverse as well. And like we mentioned, the same, the minute value between 1 and 60, and the dates. So everything else is exactly the same with this, and I've also saved it as a template, which is good. So I ran the optimization, and it basically told me that these are all the values that the strategy has entered. So the highest one was actually a 4 minute with 100 retracement on reverse. So if you look at that chart, you're going to have a lot more positions like that, but there's a lot higher drawdown too with that, you see. But that is basically what the reverse has done. So a quick one while we're looking at the reverse strategy. So a reverse strategy will fail when the price rises up like that. Okay? So that's where you're going to have your largest losing positions. So if you do find settings where reverse is extremely good, and you know that, and the price has been acting favorably, it has been ranging, you can apply the reverse settings. And then once you've looked at a few other charts, so if you've got a large trending baseline chart and you see the price rising up, instead of having the strategy enter long and short positions, you can go and choose long only. So in that case, while the strategy is running, it will not take positions long. It will not take this short position on the reverse. It will rather wait for the long position. So it will only act on the long positions while it's on reverse. So that is something to look at. So but then obviously you're also going to be missing all the the other trades that would have been successful had you had that activated. But you also might only activate the long only or the short only for a certain period of time until you've seen that the price has finished its long trend. Looking at the trades specifically for this, that is the history of the trades on that account. So we had some very good backwards and forwards, so long short, long short, long short positions. Let's quickly increase this. So that's all the times, showing you the commission for every single trade. So long short is just basically doing that the whole time. And it was only at the last, or like this one over here, there was a 500 position. That was the 5,800 trade that can actually cause issues. So again, that can also be rectified by having a target or having a stop ticks and a target tick. So if you want to have a stop ticks value and you want to run it on reverse, you could use that stop ticks value to filter out these large losing positions. And in that case, it'll just take the smaller trades, but when the price does run like a large losing position, you can actually set your stop ticks to close you off at a certain level, and then it'll wait for the next signal, and at least you won't have a long run like that of losing ticks, you might have a smaller stop of 200 ticks as a stop, and then you'll save basically 600 ticks in a losing position. So that's as an example when you're using the stop ticks and the target ticks. Okay, so that is basically the minute chart. The next one we looked at, I'm not going to flick between all these, I'll just show you very quickly. So the tick, we went to the 390 tick, the 4640 volume, and the 225 range. So we'll look at those on the analyzer. So that was the tick, so that you can select the tick drop down, and I've selected between 100 and 500 with a 10 incremental value. And those are basically the results that this has given. Actually, this will be a good time to look at another specific aspect. So looking at this top value, okay, we've got a 390 period. So that's a 390 tick chart with a 50 retracement on trend. But it entered 374 trades. Okay, so if you're looking at the analysis of this chart, you're going to see that the commission was 1,451, and it took 374 trades, but it actually added in 370 ticks of slippage. So that is what the analyzer has done, because I've put in the slippage in there. It's added in. It hasn't added in. I'll show you on the chart what it's actually done, but it's added that as extra slippage for the positions. So whenever you're looking at a strategy optimizer or performance, always look at the amount of trades. Make sure that commissions are included. A lot of people will share screens or share results from a strategy, but they won't have any commission or any slippage, and it just gives very false results. So that is that. Now let's have a look at this chart. Actually, we'll come back to that in a moment. So that's the tick, and I'll quickly show these next two. This one is the volume. So I selected between 1,000 and 5,000 volume with the exact same retracement values, and it's gave me those details. So again, you can look at your analysis and you can compare from the top which ones you want to use. So that's 8 positions with a 1,200 drawdown. That's 237 positions. So you can basically cycle through these settings and just look at what has worked previously, and that could be that could give you some foresight into what may be working ahead. Now obviously it's not going to be guaranteed or even extremely likely that we are going to be continually seeing this thing rise. We're definitely going to have periods of it tapering off. So you might have these settings loaded. Let me find one that has a drawdown. So you might have these settings loaded. You might see an amazing rise the one day where it made 14,000. Where it climbed to 14,000 from where it made 9,000 profit, but the next day it could actually lose. It could actually lose 1,900. So that's just how trading is. It's the same thing over here. You might have made $1,000 the one day, and then the next day it's losing 2,400. So at any stage, any of these strategies obviously can turn around, and they can have periods of drawdown. So it's also up to you how much data you want to analyze, how much time you want to analyze to get the current heartbeat of the market. So if a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks is your range of time that you want to analyze to see what the market is doing or what the most probable settings are that will work, then it's really up to you to decide what that period will be. So okay, so let's look at that. We've looked at the settings. So I went and chose the the volume, so that's the volume, and the last one I looked at is the range. So same thing over there, we went and chose a setting for the range. Now I wanted to switch back quickly to this chart over here with the 374 trades. So this was the 390 tick chart with the 50 retracement. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So 390 chart with the 50 retracement. So if I go into the strategies, so now notice now, so I'm going to go, so make a mental picture of the drawdown. So 4361 drawdown with 14,700 net profit. Now if I go and deactivate the strategy and I go and remove the slippage, so I make that 0 and I enable that strategy, it's now showing 3,900 drawdown but $22,000 profit. So that's unfortunately what a lot of people do, is they will share charts where they're not showing any slippage, and it completely distorts the results, because you're not going to get a trade exit and enter at the exact same spot on a bar open. So as you can see, you know, what happens is the strategy will enter a position on the next bar, but it's always going to be a slippage, and it's going to be, you know, the difference between the buy and the ask, that's going to be over there as the price. So that's why with the strategies it's always important to not only include your commission into your account, even the sim account, but also include your slippage when you're activating your strategies. Now the strategies all come inbuilt with a 2 slippage, so that's, I've got this primarily for the ES and MES, because that's a very accurate number for the slippage on that. So I included that, and immediately it changes the numbers again. Now if we'll have a look at what the slippage does and what it looks like on the chart. So I'll go to data series and I'm going to center price on scale just so I can zoom in on the actual chart. So by doing this, so as an example, so the strategy is going to enter a position on the open of the following bar. So I'll bring the ruler up on the side. So this is when the bar closed. So immediately when this bar closes, the signal would have been generated, which is over there. So if I put my marker on there and I go to the end of the bar, it's going to show 3 ticks. So that is in line with where the price would actually have entered a position. Now obviously if the market is moving extremely fast, it could be wider than that. Sometimes it's even in your favor. Sometimes a bar could close and the very next bar could shoot down extremely fast, and you actually get a better fill than you would normally get if it was just standard. So that's just and we can look at any of these entries. They're all going to show a value of a slippage that's built into them. Now not all of them are going to be perfect. Some are going to show more and some are going to show less. Let me just see if I can do this part. Come on. So like that's really zooming in on a bar now, and we're looking at, so the bar closed over there, the trade entered over there, that showed a 2 tick slippage, or a 2 tick. This one over here, over there, that's 2. And I've definitely seen some where they've made it where it's a lot wider, where it's gone to 3 or 4. So like that one there is 4 ticks as an example. So I'll just take off the snap mode because that messed it up. So beginning of the bar to the trade. Come on. Why is this not showing me? I've got center price on scale. Okay, so let's just go one bar to the right and zoom in on this one. Okay, so from the open of the bar, which is over there, to the trade is, where did that go? 4 ticks. So that is what what it does. It's going to add in ticks here and there to give you a good all-round slippage amount that is going to closely match what the market is actually doing. And we'll look at one more. This might just be a smaller one too. But this is a lot better than not having any slippage at all. So I hope that explains it a bit better as to why it's important to add your slippage in to your strategy results. Okay, so that is that, and well, I think I'm done with explaining this strategy and the optimization. So the optimization is pretty quick to do, as you saw earlier, even if you're running larger values. So we'll run this one here as an example. So from the top, we're going to select the settings. I might just do one from the top. Okay, so we select the optimization for the advanced retracement strategy. We're selecting our retracement values between 10, putting 500. Now obviously you can change to whatever settings that you want, depending on which bar size you are using, depending on a whole lot of different aspects, but have a larger range in there. And then you can choose increment. So I've just got a 10 increment. I'm going to be optimizing reverse and trend. Version, there's nothing there that we need to do. Stop ticks, I'm not going to be using that. You can go and obviously work with that. Instrument, we're choosing our instrument which we are working on, and we're working on analytical bars. We're increasing the value. I'm analyzing between 48 and 344. You do need to click on this optimized data series box though. So if you don't click on that box, it's just going to give you the two values. So if you click on the box, it's going to allow you to basically input different values in there. So I selected the same size minimum as my baseline width in ticks. So between 48 and 344 is just a number I came up with. You can put 500, 400, whatever value, in increments of whatever value as well. Selecting your specific time frame of data that you want to analyze. Selecting your trading hours if you are using it. And enabling your break at end of day. Including commission, you want to include the commission. And I keep 20 results on max net profit. So the only other thing that we didn't see over here was the times, but we're not even using the times in this example. And then once that's in, you click on your run. It's got 2,600 iterations. Now depending on what performance your PC has, I've only got 16 gigabytes of RAM on this computer. My VPS has got 64, so it runs a lot faster on there. But even with this strategy runs very, very quick optimizations. So you can run a week or 10 days of optimization like this with 2,600 iterations. You can run that in under 2 minutes. So again, also another hint, when it's calculating, do not touch anything on the screen. If you go and click on the button now, if you go click on your mouse on the screen while the circle is running, it will jam up NinjaTrader and it will crash NinjaTrader. So what basically happens is your task manager is being swamped when you are running your optimizations. So just bear that in mind. It's now slowed down because the optimization has finished, but when you're running your optimization, your task manager it really goes and annihilates either your CPU or your memory. So there we go. So there's the optimization. As you saw, it ran very quickly. I'll click on the run button again and just look at the timing of that again. So we'll see it start up again. Okay, so like there I was saying about NinjaTrader, while it's working, it's really consuming a lot of CPU performance and or memory. So just be aware of that. And it's not like I've got a very weak computer. I've actually got a decent PC over here. So yeah, I'm not too sure why that is the case, but it just really is. So there we go. In under 2 minutes we ran the optimization. We've got our results. We can now go and filter through those and look at what it is. We can go add it to a strategy, add it to a chart, let it run. So you know, that is the gist of the analytical strategy. I know it was a bit drawn out, this video, but I think if you watch this and you review certain aspects of it, you'll get to know how it works, and then you can go further in depth on your own to choose specific trading hours, go and optimize your target ticks, your stop ticks, try a few different variations of approaches and different bar types, different values of baseline widths and different values of minute charts, tick charts, volume charts, range charts, whatever you are comfortable trading, and then you know, use the strategy. It is a very profitable strategy. I do believe it needs to be optimized regularly though, and you know, that way you've got the odds in your favor. You know, at the end of the day, trading is a numbers probabilities game, and what we're doing by using the analyzer is we're trying to find what is giving us the best odds in our favor instead of just guessing numbers. We're actually looking for specific history of you know, of results that have worked, that have given us positive results, and then the odds will be in our favor that either those will continue or they will recover if they do have a drawdown. Great, so thank you for jumping on. The next video that we will cover will go into the advanced strategy line strategy. So that is also a pretty cool strategy. It hasn't got too many settings in it, just like the advanced retracement strategy. So that'll be a good one next. Thank you and chat soon.